Come on. Great, let me double check that
the
we're
live sign, so I don't know.
all right, we're good.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Osanganwa and I'm the Deputy CEO of Operation for the Global Institute for Youth. And first of all, I want to welcome our guests here and I will let them introduce themselves, tell us more about them, and we'll start the conversation. Rosario, you can start.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. My name is Rosario. I'm from Peru. I'm the founder of the Millennials Movement. It's like youth movement that started as a social media movement. We currently are partners of the CG Action Campaign of the United Nations, and we are part of the working group of the World We Want initiative of UN as well. We work with youth. I am 27 years old, and I live in Peru currently.
Okay, thank you. Danae?
Well, hi. My name is Ana Espinosa. I'm internationalist, and I'm co-founder of La Locan Alliance NGO based here in Mexico City, and also the co-founder of the Latin American and Caribbean Youth Climate Movement. Everyone knows us like CLIC, by the way. I have been working by 5 years on climate change and sustainable development issues at national and international level. And in 2014, I had the opportunity to be for an entire year the Global South focal point for the Jungo constituency for UNFCCC, for the Convention on Climate Change. So yeah, we keep in the fight against oil and carbon and everything that it's killing our planet and killing us too, by the way. So yeah, nice to have you here, you guys.
Thank you very much. And for those who are following us, they can tell now we're going to talk about the youth in most Latin American countries. And today we all know that Latin American, like as many parts of the world, have a big percentage of the youth. And we believe that we have a lot, like we need to be involved in everything that we get, that in our communities basically. So after our guest, we can tell that you have worked with the youth, you have worked with many organizations, and you have an experience. First question will be basically what challenges that the youth have been facing in your respective country, basically Mexico and Peru, and after that, give us like a more general idea in Latin America, basically. So we'll start by Danae.
Well, here in Mexico, we have lack of youth participation in some arenas. It has been little difficult for the youth to be participating in national processes. Well, climate change is one of them, and everything that has to be with green processes, I think we have been included in these processes. But in other kind of processes like gender, like sustainable cities, and in other processes here at national level, we have a lack of participation, and that's a pity because we have many things to do and many things to say. We are working very hard. Most of the time, the youth here in Mexico make the work as a voluntary. They don't have any payment for the work, so that's not good, first of all, because voluntary work, it's great, but we have to wait, I don't know, 2 or 3 years to have money for our work. So we can make the work, but without money, that's not fair enough. So at the same time, we have a lack of collaborative participation education in the youth. Um, most of the time, when I think it's something cultural. I don't know, because yes, we are very happy people. We are very polite. We are so salsa and everything that you want, parties, fiesta, viva, whatever. But the point is that um, when we have to work with national youth, the problems start. Why? Because most of the time we cannot be working together. It's a kind of crazy thing here for us. But it's like I don't like to. It's like if the youth think I don't want to work with Mexican youth too. I'm Mexican, but I don't want to work with you. That's not great. So that's a real challenge here in my country. And we have to be more collaborative here, because we are facing not good times here in Mexico. A lot of violence. We have to be very very clear in this. We have a lot of violence, specifically gender violence. Um, uh, we are working to protect even the youth in climate change issues, because it's a very very particular issue here in my country right now, because everything is politics right now, everything. And if you are participating as NGO in something in something that you want, all the time the politics are upon you. It's like, you are participating in gender issues. Okay, come on to my party and you can participate with us. But sorry, I'm an NGO, so I don't have any issue to you, because I'm not interested in politics in that way. You have to respect that. No, 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 no. But you have to be with me, to be more, I don't know, they offer you money, they offer you success. I don't know, it's a kind of crazy thing. So here in Mexico, we need more than that. And in the Latin American level, I consider too that we have to be more collaborative as region. But I don't know, but in my perspective, I have been working very, very, very fine. So, we have been working so great with other countries in the movement on climate change issues with Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Argentina, and other ones. So I think as a regional people, we have great, great coordination. But I think sometimes the problem is at national levels. So maybe we can push some agendas, youth agendas, from the outside to apply them inside in our country. So for me, that's functional. That's what I have to say about my perspective.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. Rosario, do you have something to say?
Yes, well, I think the Latin American region, we have many things in common. Actually, we kind of face the same issues that youth in Mexico do face. We have a lot of gender inequalities, mostly in the rural areas for youth girls or adolescents. We have also, or lately, we have been facing a lot of violence where is youth is youth the victim of this violence, and is also youth the people who's getting involved in violence more each time. We have even kids from 13, 16-year-old joining different kind of organizations or criminal or doing criminal activities. And this is sometimes consequences of lack of opportunities, lack of education, lack of the government and the society role to protect these youth in different levels. In our country, we have some good things. Our country has been opening spaces for youth, so youth can participate. They can train themselves as leaders for the country. But the thing is that these spaces are or do not have much incidence when it's about taking decisions for youth. Youth in Peru lately has been participating in the social spheres in different or from different um, uh, activities. They, if if they are not here formally, then they go to the streets and they start moving around. They are using social media um, in order to start having an impact in the society. I really believe that youth in Peru is a force for development. Just like in Mexico, we have been participating a lot in volunteering activities. Currently, or most of the organizations I know that are youth lead or have youth involved in their activities use their volunteer experience as an asset in order to, create a change or develop a project or some activities. So definitely, I see the youth want to do something. The thing is that sometimes we don't have the right tools to do it. We don't have the right ways to go, or they are not open yet. And sometimes we are taken as only, the people who's gonna do the work but doesn't have recognition, or maybe the population who's basically in risk, is that has most levels of HBI transmission, or is the highest levels on, violent incidents or adolescent pregnancies. And we need to understand that youth can really do something. So I improve, I do believe, and I see a lot of organizations that are doing a great job, and yes, they are participating in global activities, in global initiatives, which is good. But we also need to converge a little bit more. There is one thing that we as youth, as country, have to face, that is basically the geographic dispersion. That means that the communities are far from each other, and basically everything is centered in the capital, that is Lima. So people or youth that lives in provinces that are they don't have the same options, they don't have the same opportunities, they are not here as well, they cannot benefit from different kind of conferences or educational programs. And sometimes just few representatives of those regions are here in a national level. So definitely there are many gaps that we have to overcome, but even so, we are doing a great job. And I think it's important for all of us to be part of the national agenda as well, and also for the regional agenda, for the Latin American agenda, because of the opportunity that for development means for the region. I think that's that's what I will say.
Yeah, thank you very much for the answers. So I understand that there's many similarities, of course, because it's in the same region, and also other differences, like you mentioned, like the gap mostly like in Peru, and let's say in Mexico, with the fact that the youth don't want to work with each other. So the next question will be like, from your background experience, like what do you think has been done like the challenges, but now the question is, what do you think has been done so far in order to help those young people in your country? Like, because let's say like then I mentioned, like everything in Mexico is about politics, so I guess the government will have many implications within the country. So what do you think is done basically to help out the youth? So then
Yeah. Well, fortunately, as a country, we have a National Institute for the Youth, called obviously the acronym in Spanish is IMJUVE. So they have a very, very nice programs, including programs for indigenous youth, for the youth in the cities, and they have really, really, really great programs. But the point is that thanks to the lack of access to some ways of information, for example, the social media issues, or even the access to a computer, many youth people in the country has no access to this information. Most of the time we see not the same people participating in the different programs, but we are a kind of a small circle, because if you see, I don't know, maybe the award for the youth participation, I'm saying something like that, you most of the time see the same people. It's like because the youth people has no access to this information, they cannot participate in these programs. So it's very sad to see this that this is happening in the country. So at the same time, as a civil society and other organizations that are participating with youth, or the youth is working with them, no matter if the organization is not a youth organization, they try to push, or they try to support the young people to make their goals a reality. For example, we are in the same frequency as Peru in the rural areas. Some of the organizations, for example, here in Mexico City, they go to the rural areas and start to participate with other youth organizations based in these rural areas or indigenous areas, to create a great programs or to create a great projects. So everything is the support between civil society to civil society. But the programs in coordination with the government of Mexico sometimes is a little difficult. So most of the time, as I said, you are seeing the same people in the programs, not more people. Maybe we could have more participation from other youth in other areas, and it's more collaborative and it's more open, the process, and etc. So we have these kind of difficulties, but at the same time it's great, because we are seeing that they are very worried about the youth, I think. But I think in Latin America and around the globe, for example, in Africa and in other countries, I'm sure of it, the civil society is supporting civil society too. And sometimes it's a little difficult to start to participate with the government or the private sector. So we have to try to find ways to make these kind of programs a reality, and to be more open, and the people in an indigenous area can know these programs and apply for them, because we can even support them to apply for these programs. And it's not just the award, I'm talking about the impact of your actions, because you can have an award to be the best project of the youth, yes, but many young people is doing more things outside even these programs, and they are continuing doing the job. So I think that's the challenge and the opportunities that I can see here in my country. But most of the time is the support from civil society to civil society, and that implies youth, obviously.
Yeah, but so basically, with that, having, I guess, that youth institution included in the government also helps a lot, I'm sure. So basically, you have like a voice within the decision making of the country.
Yeah, we have a voice in decision making of the country, but even that, even this is difficult, because as I told you before, sometimes some youth or the young people here in Mexico, they don't want to be a kind of raise the voice, because most of the time they know, well, I'm sorry, because I have to deal with the politics in this case. We are, by the way, right now we are in an electoral process. So sometimes it's difficult for some young people to raise the voice because they know that some party or some people that are involved in these political issues, they will be here hearing and trying to convince them to join the party or to join the political participation. It's great, but at the same time, it's not, because sometimes you don't have the opportunity to say as a civil society or even a citizen what you think or what do you want to say about any topic. You have to be in the same frequency with the politic issue or the politic person. So that's not good, because this is not a free speech. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's a kind of a scare, and I understand very, very, very well the people. So we have to be quiet, and we have to wait the electoral process to be gone, and after that we have to continue working. But yes, we have voice in some politic issues. By the way, really, really, I can assure you that climate change is one of them, because we have been even working or coordinating some issues or some projects at national level with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mexico as youth. In fact, we have an event last year here in Mexico City about climate change with 40 guys from the Latin American region in the international event. At that national level, we were very happy because we could see a lot of young people working on climate change in 17 states of Mexico. 17 states. So that's awesome. On climate
Yeah.
change, we see that we are making great things, and we are collaborating with the government or the local governments. In fact, by the way, that's good, and even with the private sector. So that's great. But in other topics like gender, like cities, and other issues that we have to create agendas, because even in climate change we have a kind of agenda. We need more support for the young people in other topics that are very, 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 very uh, um, important for the country. But on climate change, we are happy. But I'm trying. I am aware. I'm trying to give you my perspective about the national level in other topics that are not climate change. But in climate change, we are happy. By the
Yeah.
moment, we are happy, and we will try to push the agendas that we are working, because right now climate change is I don't know, but it's very strong in many of the work of globally work and national level. So that's for me. I'm happy
Yeah.
with that right now.
So I guess like I'm very interested by what you just said. My next question will be why is it okay? There's many topics that okay, climate change is a big issue all over the world, but why is it that the youth is more involved in that than any other issue? Like I'm sure violence will also be another big issue, like you mentioned before, or any other thing. But why is it that you see that that much involvement in that?
Well, I think because we are a very, very we have a lot of biodiversity.
Okay.
Mexico really it's so green, and we have a lot of natural resources. In my case, I think they are natural gifts for us, not resources, gifts, because we have to care of them. But at the same time, I don't know, but in climate change or environmental issues, maybe someone that will see the video or are seeing the video right now will kill me. I don't know, or will hate me. But in green issues or environmental issues, the youth is more open. I don't know why, but the
Mm-hmm.
people is more open.
Okay.
We are more collaborative in environmental issues. Really, I don't understand why. Even in gender issues, the women, we are more open and more collaborative. But in other agendas, for example, in cities, sustainable cities, for example, I have been part of the process right now of Habitat, by the way, because we have an event here in Mexico, in the state of Mexico, and the regional meeting for Latin America. And we didn't see the process of Habitat so open as the climate change, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's more closed. I don't know. It's obviously more politic because we have to deal with the government, specifically with the local governments, to improve a lot of agendas. It's the agenda of the agenda from the other agendas. So I don't know why, but on climate change, the feelings and the way to think of the youth people, and even not the youth people, the other guys like the government or the ministries of environment, etc., they are more open. I don't know why, because maybe some people say that we are hippies, or we eat flowers all the time. I don't know. Or maybe because we are more connected with nature. I don't know. But in climate change, is that's my perspective, because really you really feel connected with the other people, and you can sit even in a cafeteria to take a coffee, tea, wherever you want, with your local government, because we have been doing this sometimes, and there is no suits, there is no jackets, or we have no a lot of I don't know. It's difficult. I have the word in Spanish, but I cannot express it in English right now. But I think we are providing good energy in all the processes, and at the same time we are worried as youth because, for example, you want to eradicate poverty, and you want to eradicate in 2030 agenda. Water sanitation, for example, it's necessary. You want to eradicate disease wherever you want. But if you don't see the importance of climate change or environmental issues, I don't know how are you planning to eradicate poverty or eradicate hunger if you are not doing something, for example, for the agriculture sector, a sustainable agriculture sector in your country, for example. It's nature.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I don't know how do you want to water sanitation if all the rivers around your city or around your country or wherever you want are polluted, because all the time we forget the environmental importance in our lives. So I think the youth is it's making, or it's living or experimenting a kind of awakening in environmental issues, and that's why maybe we are more open, because we see the importance of the mother nature in other agendas. So maybe that's why we are like we are. So I think we are not rude, and we are not like, oh, sorry, no, I'm from the government, don't talk to me. Oh yes, you are youth, you have no experience. No, we think that this process it's very different, even in the contact with other human beings. So that's why.
Yeah, I understand. Everything is related to each other, and I'm sure other people from other countries can also learn from the youth from Mexico when it comes to fighting those issues about climate change, and I'm all about like supporting them anyway, you know. So now we're going to talk about Peru a bit, and I don't know if you remember, I'm going to repeat the question, which is basically from your background experience, what do you think has been done so far in order to help young people in your country?
Well, I think in Peru, as I said in the previous question, there are many new spaces for youth. Also, the government is thinking on youth regarding their activities. There are many volunteer or youth volunteer programs from the ministries, so youth can be involved and they can have some kind of experience. before, having a job, which is good because it will be a relevant thing on their CV. But as Danai said, it's not only volunteering staff. We also have needs. Sometimes you have families as well, and when they have higher necessities, or they have to provide for a family, they cannot get involved in these kind of areas. So basically, I think one of the things here that are happening or are being great lately is that youth is being present in different kind of conferences. We have our countries have been a venue of different kind of conference regarding youth, and there is more use of technologies and social media by youth, and that is how youth is getting engaged a little bit more. Um, the same as I said, something that kind of replicate here is that we can see, or I could see youth very interested on climate change issues, because I think we think that is something that it's directly affecting us, and we think about our future. We don't want to fight for water, or we don't want to be involved in a food crisis. We want to have a family. We want to have children as well, and we don't want the current situation be even worse in the future, and mostly for our families. So I think that's something that worry us a lot in different regions. Regarding, for example, gender equality, there are some feminist movements. Actually, at this point, I'm participating as Women Champion for UN Women for the Empower Women campaign, and I can see there is a lot of reception from the youth regarding this issue. However, there is still, this social structure, very patriarchal structure, that doesn't sometimes help us to make the impact real or sustainable, because even though we fight and we try to change the rules of the game, well, things, it's a little bit complicated to to change things when it's something that is very into the community, into the society. However, youth is involved in that. I think something that I've seen in youth, and these new opportunities, or these new things that are being done for youth, is giving credibility to youth at some point regarding political action. And even though we don't usually go through the formal paths to achieve whatever we are asking for, what do I mean with this? Some years ago, youth wouldn't go out, wouldn't go to the streets, wouldn't ask for their rights, wouldn't make noise because of the things or desires or or their demands. But lately, is youth the one who's going to the streets. We are also in a political process, and it's very interesting seeing youth participating in the whole process in different regions. So I think there are new windows. Youth is participating, but we still need more support in order to have a real influence in the political decisions of our country, and also more credibility and support for by our societies, regarding what is the role of youth. We are not only people who just go to the streets and make noise. We also have arguments for that. We also are mobilizing other youth. We are also doing things. Regarding international cooperation, I'm very happy because I really believe that international cooperation and international organizations are supporting youth a lot. In the case of the Millennials Movement, we have been participating in the decision process or definition process of the 2030 agenda with the Survey My World and the Millennium Campaign. And I'm very happy to say that we have the support of international cooperation or institutional support in order to come here to our communities and mobilize youth and say, like, international cooperation is also regarding or is also including youth in all these processes. We are important for them, and their recognition, as partners, even though we are not a huge foundation or a huge organization. And now the support of youth and women regarding some gender issues, we are mobilizing youth as well, with using technologies, the communication technologies. And I think that's very important because that makes youth think in the local level that even though sometimes we have it very hard locally, we have the support from outside, and that we can continue moving and we can prove ourselves, to our authorities or leaders, and be part of the social dynamic of our community. So I think there are many, many, many doors and windows open, but we just need a little bit of support, and we need to reach more youth, not only the same group of youth that it's always involved and that maybe has some skills that others don't, such as like language abilities or internet access. We need to focus also in youth that is not able to have this kind of skills or logistic materials, So I think that's something important.
Okay, so I guess you've been working also on social media, and do you think it's something that is really used in Peru, and is there a big impact within the society when it comes to social media and how the youth can communicate basically and raise their voice?
I think lately, yes, social media is moving a lot of processes and a lot of things in Peru. We use mostly Facebook. We don't use much Twitter, but I can see, for example, now that we are in electoral process, youth is using Facebook, to share their ideas, to talk about politics when there is something regarding or a huge event, or maybe a new that is impacting youth, or it's impacting the community itself. Is youth the one who's using social media to say what they think about, because sometimes not every single youth is a representative of youth in their community, so they use these channels to say what they think. I also think that youth is organizing themselves through social media. We had some strikes. I think it was 1 or 2 years ago. The policy regarding labor rights for youth were changed at some point, resting some rights to youth. And youth was organizing, these strikes and these mobilizations through social media, and even they didn't know each other. They were using fan page, they were working in doing a collaborative work with different groups, and they could mobilize a lot of youth in all the country. Also, the fact that it's a new window, to participate in different kind of experiences. Since my experience as founder of the Millennial Movement, and since the fact that we started as a social media movement, for us, the social media it's been a key element for our activities. This is how we can reach people in other regions and in other countries. We actually run trainings online. We organize our activities online. Currently there are 2 groups, one in Lima, one in Arequipa. That is the region I live in. Currently, and we use social media a lot to spread the activities we are doing, to coordinate them, to show other people, to engage more youth. So I think it's a key element, but we need to promote a little bit a well use or a good literacy regarding social media, so other youth can also use it for creating an impact in their communities, not only for social activities. It's a great tool that we have.
it is a very great tool that we have, and we should also be able to use it in order to like change everything around surrounding us. Thank you very much for your answers. And now my next question will be, like as young people and also people who have been working with the youth, what do you think the youth should do in order to solve their own issues? Like how, like in which area should they improve more or participate more in order to like solve their own issues in your own country? So we'll start with Rosario.
Well, I think Jude needs to first believe that they can create an impact in their community, that they are not alone, that they have the power enough to start making change in their communities, in their houses, in their work, in their schools. You know, they need to believe that they are capable. They have the knowledge, they have the abilities to do it. Um, and I think they need to work a little bit more organized. We have different groups of youth. However, it's hard sometimes locally to work all together and nationally as well. So there is something that shouldn't discourage us for keep moving, you know. Also, I think you'd need to start thinking with a lot of creativity when they want to move something, when they want to achieve something, because sometimes resources are not enough, sometimes knowledge is not enough, sometimes the contents we have is not enough, but there is always some good ideas that we can have in order to start moving something. So I think that is something important. I think youth needs to be involved in different spheres. I think it doesn't matter if we are talking about climate change, it doesn't matter if we are talking about gender equality or policies or, I don't know, economic dynamics in our communities. I think we need to start caring about all these issues because somehow they are going to affect our lives in right now and in the future when we have to deal with maybe harder situations and when we will be trying to introduce our kids to these social dynamics. So definitely we need to be involved. We need to raise our voices. Sometimes they are not going to be here, but we need to make make an effort to stay there, to be active, to worry about these all issues. So that's something I will say for this question.
Okay. Thank you. Danae, do you have something to add?
Well, I think I'm agree with Rosario about this. First of all, we have to believe. Most of the time, we don't believe in the power that as youth we have, because most of the time here in our region, in our countries, it's very common to hear from the older people that you are young, you don't have experience, you don't have enough knowledge, you cannot do this and that, and most of the time the common of the youth, we start to believe that, oh yes, of course I'm youth, I'm not an expert, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. No, we have to think positive in a positive way, and we can create another world. Another world is possible. I know that sounds very romantic, but really we can make the difference. It's very clear, and I don't know why the older guys they forgot that they were young. Obviously they were young, so I don't know, and I think in some times of their lives they hear exactly the same, so maybe they are replicating exactly the same model to and applicating it to us. So yes, we have to believe in us as youth. We have to believe, in fact, in other youth too, because it's very, very, very common that we don't believe in other people and we don't believe in other youth. We have to trust in what we can do as a youth to provide the support as a group in many other agendas, in many other topics. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. So my last question is basically is to think about like an advice that you can give to young people out there who are trying to get involved or already involved in their communities, like what to do in order to be a young leader. So thank you, Rosario, you can start.
Well, I think I will suggest repeat myself on belief. We need to believe we have the power to change the world. It doesn't matter if you start with only one person dream. We can do it. I think we need to be creative and perseverant. I know that in Latin America we need to knock 100 doors before we start doing something. So no worries about that. Don't feel sad and don't feel bad. Also, I will say to Jude, or I will give a recommendation if they want to be involved, if they want to be active. No worries if sometimes you feel and you start questioning yourself and start thinking, is this worth it? You know, or if you want to be involved as a volunteer, or if you want to, you know, do many things, and you see a lot of backlash from your family, from the society, from your friends, from your professors, don't feel or don't lose the courage you have, because we need to be perseverant, and that is the only way we can realize that it was really worth it, that the time that we are investing in our communities, that the time that we are investing on in our studies, on try to be a better person, on try to help other people, and try to help our planet, our society, is worth it, because somehow we will see us living in a better place. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe in some years, maybe in some weeks. We don't know, you know. So that is something I would say to Jude, and maybe try to think about new channels, new ideas. Use social media, use or you know, talk to your friends, organize yourself, try to look for good allies, such as not only huge companies. Try to look like for allies such as, you know, the company or the small business or enterprise, or your friend parent that maybe he understands you guys and he wants to support. Be able to dream and be able to think big in order to do big things. That's something I would say.
Thank you very much. Danae, do you have something to add?
Well, my advice, my advice for the youth in this. Well, we are living in a, well, I think, and I learned with the time that the only constant thing in this planet, and I think in this universe, is the change. And to create a better world in the Mother Earth, you have to be living one day by day. You have to live in the present to create a better future. Most of the time we are, as youth, we are thinking about most of the time in the future. Yes, it's not bad. It's good because it's our dream to create a better world to us and for the present and the future generations. But we have to be concentrated in the present day. What can I do today? Or my time, I will, with my time, what I'm going to do today with my time. So as youth, it's good to see for the future, but sometimes we forget the present. We want to create a lot of things. I want to run. I want to create this kind of revolution because to be youth, we are revolutionary. So that's the truth. But we have to live in the present day, and I'm very, very, very sure that we can create a better future if we um, start to living day by day, but in the present. And yes, of course, we have to believe in other young people because it's necessary to believe in other young people. We have to create, even in these times, in these very, very, very hard times for the entire society. We have to create the trust because we don't trust in other people right now. It's, I don't know, it's insane. In my case, I think it's insane because how can we make a change if we cannot trust each other? So we can create these spaces to trust, and the youth and the children are the the great group to do it. So trust, believe, and well, live in the present. That's my advice to create a better future for the youth. And yes, believe in our power as youth. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I agree from what you guys are both saying. I believe that you can change something today to create a better future. Everything you do today will also result in something different, like from the future. And as the youth, we should also work together because we're facing the same issues basically all over the world. And we have tools, as Rosario mentioned, we have social media now, and we have all the things needed so that we can work together in order to make a difference. So thank you very much. In the next, the global sets for this special discussion the next. You guys want to add something so that we can finish the conversation?
Well, I think I just want to say thank you for the invitation. Thank you for letting us share our perspectives and experiences regarding youth. And well, just say that it's a new era. It's as we always said with United Nations, the youth is the largest generation we have ever had in the history of humanity, and we have tools, as you said, we have tools, we have technologies, and I think we need to start thinking that we are part of or the achievement of sustainable development. So definitely I will say that, and I will say that it's important for people to engage in different initiatives. Just start using correctly or better social media and internet, because you will find a lot of things that you can engage with and then you can do in your community or replicate in your community. Thank you.
Yeah, and in my case, thanks
You have
guys.
something?
Really, yeah, sorry. Yeah, and well, guys, thank you very much for the invitations. It's great. It's great to see that. Well, with these tools like Hangout, we can spread the word about what are we doing and what the other young people are doing. That's great. And at the same time, really, I'm very proud. I don't know, it's not publicity, but really, 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 I believe in the movement that 40 crazy young guys we create in 2013 to start to work on climate change. I'm talking about the Latin American and Caribbean Youth Climate Movement, because thanks to all these crazy guys, we are creating a better agendas in our national arenas, because it's very important. So yes, my passion and my work is about climate change, but I think we can create a lot of awesome things in other agendas as youth people. So thank you so much, Institute, for this. And I hope you can make another hangouts like this one with other young people. And yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. So basically, as the Global Institute for Youth, our mission is to provide tools for young people to lead a positive change in their communities and countries. We do Google Hangouts like this, and if you want to have more information, you can go on our Twitter page and our Facebook page and contact us. And thank you again for this discussion. Thank you very much.